Alright, I'll try and cut a mouse real quick. It's my mouse pattern. I got a bunch of paper down because the light is too bright for the camera. So normally it's just normally I do all my cutting on this big piece of glass, 1/4 inch thick glass on top of some 2x4s with this light shining up through the glass. It's a little flat light that I use. It makes it nice and easy to see the pattern. But it's a little too bright for the camera, so I laid a bunch of paper down, which will make it a little more difficult for me, but at least you will maybe get to see. So let's start with the fun part. Let's cut the cape. This is iridescent red glass. So I'm making in a red caped mouse. Oh, I realize now that my head will be in the way, so the next cut I won't be. You know, live and learn. I'm not going to start over though, because, you know, fuck that. Ooh, if you don't like certain sounds, that might get to you, but it doesn't bother me any. Quite used to it. Cutting is my favorite part. Goes quick and easy. You know what you're doing. I'm just going to keep cutting real quick. The main part of the cape is done. Let's try and do the little neck part. I dip the oil, or I got cutting oil on a little piece of cotton, a little cotton swab. Dip it there. They have cutters that store the oil inside, but I don't really like those ones. My glass cutter is actually made from 2 different glass cutters. I got the end of a nice Toyo one, and then I got the hand of a real shitty one. And together they make my favorite glass cutter that I own. I followed a little tutorial to make that. Pretty happy with it actually. Been using it for, I don't know, more than a year now I think. When you have a piece that's a little too small to break with your hand, you can use these. They're a little bent. One side's bent, convex and concave, and they work together and they crack the glass. So I got that little piece. That's a little neck piece. One more piece of the cape. Let's see. Let's use this one. I'll try and do this as quick as I can. Just to not make this video crazy long, because I don't really want to edit it or anything. I'm just going to try and throw it up, I think. We'll see. I don't know if anyone's going to watch it, but if you do, I'm trying to make it as short as possible. So there we go. The 3 pieces of the cape are done. I got the big, the neck, and the little tiny piece underneath. 1, 2, 3. Now, the only other colors I have to do with this mouse, I have to do pink for the ears and the nose, and then the body's all going to be white. That's what I decided on for this one. This is all iridescent glass. Should be pretty when it's done. Let's see. Now, I've gotten to the point where I'm doing the ears in one piece of glass and using a little piece of tinned copper wire to do this line in between the 2 ears. This line in between the 2 ears. And then the ears are just one actual piece of glass. So, I mean, I don't know if that's interesting at all, but what I'm doing. And sometimes when you break it, there's like a little nub here or something, like you can kind of see it's not smooth. So you take these little nibblers and you can kind of nibble away the part that wasn't supposed to be there. You gotta be careful with these things or you're gonna break the whole piece and have to start over. And mine are actually a little dull. I've had them for a while. They're not as nice as they could be, so I could use a new pair of nibblers actually. In the meantime, they'll get the job done though. These are braking pliers or running pliers or something like that. I don't know. I think they go by different names. I think the nibbler might have another name too, but again, I'm, you know, self-taught with all this. I don't know the proper terms for a lot of stuff. Never took a class or anything. I'm sure I would have learned the proper terms if I had. But that's not my style. The other thing is, if you make a line but it's too small to break with your hands, like there's a little tiny piece I need to break off here. These are, on one side they're curved. So you take the curve and put it on top, and you fold it down a little bit just like that, and it takes off the little piece you need to take off. So, got these ears. And there's a little bit of extra glass here, so I can kind of use the inside of this. And whenever you do that, there's like powdered glass that comes off pretty much. It always worries me a little bit, but I just think as long as I avoid breathing in, it should be fine. But it's like that fine that I'm actually worried about breathing it. Can't imagine glass in your lungs is good. Alright, well there's the ears. Let's go for the nose. The nose, I usually just cut a little square, and then use the nibblers to round it out, because I don't know, that's the easiest way I've found to make a little tiny circle, because right now it's a little rectangle. I take my nibblers, nibble off the edges, turn it into a little circle. That's fun, right? A little oblong still, just go a little bit more. It's starting to get there. Good enough, I think. A little round thing should be good enough. So, got all the pink, all the red. Now let's do the white. The body should be the funnest color. I got an incoming call on my phone, but I will ignore that. A lot of people cut their patterns out, like cut each piece out individually. They have special scissors that when you cut along the line, it will remove a little tiny section of the paper, and you just throw that away, and that way you leave room for your foil and everything, so that it comes together nicely. That's not how I do it. I do it, as I said, with the light underneath, and I just leave my pattern intact. It's a lot quicker and easier if you, I mean, that's kind of how I learned to do it, by reading a book that some old Australian guy posted online for free that was like his life work. I was like, alright, I'll just learn from that, because I am cheap when it comes to certain things. So, that's a nice cut right there. That's the inside of the body. Next, I'll cut the whole body off. I realize my head's probably in the way for that one, but I couldn't really help it. Maybe I'll remount the camera somewhere else. But there we go, there's the body piece. So I'll have a little trimming to do. Let's throw it back down. Move off some glass, round out the bottom foot. Now for this I separate the two front legs with just a little piece of the same tin wire. So all I do there is I cut and I try and make a little divot in between where the 2 feet go. Really, let's see. Seems like I just kind of whip through it, throw stuff around, and that's as I do. I don't really care that much. I mean, I don't have to be that careful, really. Glass is a lot sturdier than most people think, I think. Dealing with it every day, you get used to just not even thinking about it. mean, if I drop stuff on the ground, it'll break, but just throwing it around like this isn't gonna hurt it any. So I got, as a body, I got these cake pieces, I got the ear, I got the mouth, so I need the head, one more leg, and the tail. And I think that's it, huh? Looks like that's almost it. Let's see. Cut off the head. Cut off the head. Sounds worse than it is. No mice is no mice are harmed in the making of these, so don't worry. Occasionally my fingers are harmed. Let's see if we can avoid that for the video, although it might be more entertaining, really. Maybe I'll keep filming until I do get myself real good. That happens almost every day when I'm cutting a lot, because as you can tell, I don't take a lot of safety precautions. It's usually on like the third or fourth thing of the knife that I'm cutting that I'll end up cutting myself pretty good, because you go so quick you end up getting a little cocky and not careful. There are safer ways to break glass. I don't really do them. I'm kind of reckless when it comes to my own safety. Little curved breaks like this, you kind of crack it a little bit, and then you turn it over to the other side and you crack it more until you hear it go, and then you can just snatch it right off. Got that break? Ooh, that was a good break. Like that one. But like this is a little tiny piece, so I'm going to use the breaker pliers to, or the nibblers, whatever, I don't know, whatever, like I said, I know what the shit's called. As you can tell, I'm not really putting a whole lot of thought into any of this, or else I would probably have more to say. Really just testing out my new camera, and I will probably show anyone that wants to watch. So all I got left is the back leg, and this is the piece that I broke out of the center of the body. It already has the curve I want for the leg on one side, so I'll just cut the leg on the other side of that, and then they'll fit together nice and snug. A little trick I've learned from cutting so many of these things. So I'll cut just a little bit away. And on that one, I almost never actually follow the pattern underneath because I have such a wicked angle right here. And I could just change the pattern, but every time I just cut it how I want it. I don't know. I'm not the smartest man, I guess. It'd probably be better to change the pattern, but oh well. Not my style. And with that, just round up this bottom of the foot real quick. Now let me unplug the lights. Light's a pain, but it's really, oh shoot, the stomach. Forgot the stomach piece. I knew I was forgetting something. I think I can do this without the light. No, I can't. The iridescence gets in the way. Sure would have been better if I hadn't messed up like that, but you know, oh well. Right. C'est la vie. Glass is only iridescent on one side, and so that's why I kind of like the iridescent mice better, because lately with this run of little ones, I've only been making all of the detail on one side of the mouse with with the wire and everything. Like, I don't put this little piece of wire on both sides of the ear, I only put it on the front. And then when the mouse isn't iridescent, the only way you can tell what the side of the front is where the wire is and everything. But when it's an iridescent mouse, it's kind of, you can tell that what side's the front, you know, just by the glass. So only having the wire on one side, I feel better about that, because it's, you know, it's one-sided anyway, so what's it matter? Turn the light off again. It's a stupid light where I have to unplug it every time. So let's see. Body, stomach, back leg, tail, bottom piece of the cape. Now, I would probably go a tiny bit slower if I wasn't filming it. But, you know, I'm trying to make a quick little video, which, as I can tell right now, is going to be almost 20 minutes. Which is probably longer than a quick little video should be. But, as I said, I'm just messing around with my new camera. I'll try and throw it up on YouTube, maybe post a link on Twitter. Maybe one or two of you will actually watch it. So, I don't feel that bad. So, there we go. That's pretty much the mouse. Yeah, that's really all there is to it. And I just take this foil. This is the foil I use. This copper foil tape is what it is. It's copper on one side, and it's just real thin foil tape, and then sticky on the other side. And all you do is you wrap it around the outside edge of all the pieces of glass. I'm not going to do this whole process, but I'll show you, like, just for starters. Kind of wrap it so that it hangs over on both sides a tiny bit, because the tape is a little bit thicker than the glass. I actually have various thicknesses of tape. You can use thicker tape if you want more foil to hang over and you want thicker lines, because obviously what you're doing is you're soldering the copper together, the copper around the pieces of glass, because, you know, solder doesn't stick to glass, obviously. So you just foil all the pieces. And you just kind of smooth it around the edges like this. And I have a FID. This is a plastic thing called a FID. And you can use this to smooth out the copper and get it. Because right now it's real rough everywhere that I put it. Especially since I'm going quick for this video. So then you take all the pieces and you wrap them all in foil like this, and you put them all together. And then you just heat up the soldering iron here. And not on here, obviously. I grab a piece of plywood or something, and you just solder everything together. Where's my solder? Here we go. So this is my solder. So you just take this and the soldering iron, and you just go. And I'll make a video later, maybe, of the soldering and the wrapping the outside and everything. But for now, tried out my new camera. Cut the last red caped mouse. So I think that's it for today. And as you can tell, my workbench is a pretty big mess. I got just loads and loads of broken glass. I mean, really get careless with it. I gotta clean up. But, you know, what are you gonna do? It produces lots and lots of little scraps. Fun. Alright, I think that's it. Thanks.